All right, so in this video, we're going to do a very short explanation on a very complicated topic. So I just want to get your feet wet so you understand sort of what's going on here, and hopefully you can either apply this immediately to what it is you're working on, which led you to this video, or you'll have the tools and the know-how and the knowledge and the nomenclature to then do further research on your own to understand some of the more complex nuances of this particular topic. So the topic which we're going to be discussing is formats within SAS. So we have our library here, work, and we have our data. We have our data right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, MinorLeague. So we have, in each instance, we have a variable player ID, variable player name, variable player position, and variable favorite beverage code. Okay, now what you might be noticing here is we have different observations which may stand for something else. This particular beverage, all ones, that might be soda pop, and 66066, that might be orange juice. We're not sure what these player positions are, G, G, C, RW. It's within the field as far as the data is concerned. So if we were to import data, this is what would come in with our import. But these values, they might need a label put atop them so we actually can understand as human beings what these values actually mean within the context of our data frame. So let's see what we have going on with our data first. So I'm going to run this right here, this frequency. And what I'm asking is I want to see what the frequencies, and here it is. So I just wanted to know the frequency of player position. Now this can be useful if you have a massive set and you're just trying to break down which entries are in that set. So this will count, or again, produce the frequency of the appearance of a particular entry, but also let you see each entry, each unique entry, which is within that particular variable. So each observation. So player position has C, G, LW, and RW. And C appears once, G appears twice, LW appears once, and RW appears once. And we do that by using our proc freq statement there. So proc freq data equals the name of our data set there. Tables, we're looking at a particular variable. In this case, player position is the variable within our data set, which we're interested in, which we're looking for the count of all the unique entries. And so that's what we're looking to achieve here. And the reason we're doing that is we want to assign a format for this particular variable within this particular data set. And we're going to do that using the proc format statement. So proc format value, and the value is going to dictate which particular variable we're looking to assign values to and what those values will be. So in this case, we have the proc format value and its position format. Okay. And we want to say for each instance of C, assign that the data label center. And it's for each instance G, assign that the label goalie, or the format goalie for that matter might be a better term. For LW, apply the format which applies the label left wing. And for RW, assign that right wing. And then run that. So this is going to create the format. All right. So we're not applying the format, we're creating the format. So let's run this here. And you can see that this successfully processed. Now, finally, now that we have the format created, which is position format, we want to apply it. Now, the computer's not going to know, the program's not going to know that we want this particular format applied to this particular data set, nor is it going to know what particular variable it is that we want to apply the format to. So we have to specify that. So we're going to use the data set MinorLeague. Okay, we're going to overwrite it. So we're going to use the original set MinorLeague, and we're going to overwrite the original set with a new version of MinorLeague. We're going to apply our format, and that format is the position format. Okay, right here, here's the position format. And we're going to apply it. So it's position format dot. And we're telling SAS we want to apply that format to this set, to this variable right here. So this is the set, this is the variable within the set, and this is the format we're using. So it's saying SAS for the MinorLeague set, every time you see the player position variable, if there's an instance where you see C, apply the format, position format, and label that goalie. If you see G, label that, I'm sorry, if you see C, label that center. If you see G, label that goalie. If you see LW, label that left wing. If you see RW, label that right wing. So let's go ahead and let's do this right here. And now let's go ahead and take another look at our data. So as you can see, we now have data labels. The data has been appropriately formatted. Now, something you have to know about formats, which is not really intuitive initially, is that you have to do this every time you work with this data. So if you bring the data back in, if you're working with the data in another SAS session, MinorLeague, all of these values, this will be LW, RW, G, C. You'll have to then reapply the format each time. Otherwise, the initial variables are there. So the only time you'll see the labels come on that were specified in the format is you have to rerun this code every time you have a session with this data that you want the labels to be applied. So every time you'd want this to occur, you'd have to run this and this within your SAS session. Otherwise, it'll be as it was prior to the application of the format. Now, I know that that's a bit much. It is useful in certain instances. Here's a way that you might actually be able to maybe expedite this process a bit. What you can do is you can take your format as it exists, so something like this. So you could take this right here, and you could create, just copy and paste this or cut and paste this into its own SAS bit of code. So we have some code right here, and we're just going to put the format here. So just the format, nothing else. And then we would save this particular format. We have to choose a name for it and a place where we'd like to have it stored. In this case, I have a fictitious path where we're calling this program MinorLeague POS format. So if we were to save this particular code snippet right here as MinorLeague POS format, we could then reuse this particular code without having to run it each time. So we save this particular bit of code as MinorLeague POS format, and then we can go out of that right there. And then if we wanted to have this code applied in a new SAS session to save some time, we could just run this line here, and that'll say, SAS, go ahead, go to this particular file pathway and initiate this particular code snippet. And then we would run this bit of code here. And what this would do is it would take the data that we want to apply our data format to, and it would go ahead and apply it to the variable which we specify. So that's a way that you can save a step or two if you're really in a pinch and want to sort of simplify your code, I like to just go about things the elongated way, which might not be good practice, but it's easier for me to sort of see what's going on, especially if I stepped away from a project for a long period of time and then I need to pick it up again. And you'll see that that is the case as an analyst or whatever your role might be as a data scientist, et cetera, that there's quite often you have to walk away from projects and then come back to them after some time has elapsed cold and then start processing data through those projects again. And the data structure might change, and in most cases it does. So word to the wise, I prefer to do it in the more nuanced way. But if you wanted to do it in a way which simplifies the code, you might want to choose to do this instead. So I hope that this sheds some light on this otherwise sort of eclectic subject. I would recommend that you maybe do some research on your own, knowing what you now know. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It would mean a lot to me. And until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day. Take care.